Communication 10.3 is closed. Okay, Mr. Clerk, Communication 220.
Communication 220, discussion relating to pending state legislation affecting the general authority of counties. From Councilmember Margaret Willey, dated March 18, 2013. The discussion will include State Senate Bill 727 and related legislation.
Okay, may I have a motion to close and file Communication 220?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Margaret Willey and second by Mr. Zendo Kearns. But before we start discussion, just want to let members know again, like as it was mentioned, that this bill is like deferred. So whatever, I guess, communication or whatever comments we do make and stuff, I mean, basically this bill is dead. So, okay. But yeah, so Ms. Willey, go ahead.
Okay. I'm concerned that increasingly local government is under attack in our state government. There's a broad effort to coalesce power among a few, and essentially going back towards plantation era politics or that structure. And this is an effort that's across many states. It's not just when you talk about county government, it's the whole idea of meaningful public input. And this is especially critical in this state where our most local government is county. We don't have villages. We don't have towns. A county is the one place where really the government and the people interface, at least almost 100% in terms of the neighboring islands. I wanted to just go through a few of the bills and what's going on. I did bring up 727, which has been discussed, and 727 deals with Section 46, which is basically what authorizes us, and the key provision is Section 13, which gives us the right to have deal with legislation, ordinances relating to health, well-being, or life, and private property, and maintain order. Essentially, 727 would have eliminated and usurped all county government. Everything we do, parks, agriculture, all of this, done. This bill passed every Senate committee. I stumbled across it. I didn't, I went over there. I had to fly the night before because stay over 2 nights, go to it. I was there. There were 5 Monsanto people and me. There was no one. There was a lot of written testimony. That's it. The same thing. So here it is. And then one of the people that spoke from Iowa said 27 states have been cut down to where they're basically private property and maintaining order. And that local governments interfere with corporate policies. I mean, that's the bottom line. I didn't know who was behind it or what was going on. But I just wanted to, looking through what I handed out, if you look at on SB 727 and read what it says, it doesn't describe anything that's going on in this bill. If we were to look it up, it would say it expressly prohibits the enactment of county ordinances relating to the protection of property and the order and security of inhabitants if the ordinances conflict with the intent of state or federal statutes, rules, or regulations. It doesn't say guts, everything to do with health and well-being. And then I included the key section of that, crossing out those words. I just want to run through a couple others. I mean, basically, what's going on is legislation to remove authority from the counties, limit authorities, to have exemptions for certain regulations, to grant unfettered rights. It's coming in all different forms. It's really, if you were on the other side, they're well written. They know how to write these things. Undermining, saying that only the state will have say-so, or if there's any federal regulation on it, that the state and the county have none. SB 1027 would remove the county's role in the coastal management zone with respect to any state property. The state would have self-certified that they were in compliance with all regulation. I put that in. I also just included something about how that's federal money that comes down, and it's the county, the planning department have done it. That, if that had passed, that would have been removed. Again, that either had only one senator, Thielen, and, three, Harris, Rudderman, and Thielen opposed it. Otherwise, total, every senator agreeing with it. I went to both of those hearings. I was really the only one there. And I was just like, you're not going to do this. We're not going to tolerate this. At this hearing, it was Kaufman, Evans, Hano, and Lowen. And I just said, did my outrage act. And both of those died. But it's not like on 727, there was a couple testimonies from two of the mayors written, but otherwise it was all basically me and a couple other individuals, and they both died. Okay, but that's what happens. Like in other states, it just plain happens, and we didn't know about it. Another one that's going on right now is on submerged land. This is coming up for a final vote. I think it's tomorrow. For 4-9, for a final vote, it would exempt all state and county authority in terms of submerged land. It basically was modified from harbors to submerged land, and it says rehabilitate or upgrade. But basically, our island has 10 of these harbors. We will be taken out of that equation as of probably a few days from now. Another one just is 865, has to do with public school, and that's allowing for commercialization of school land, and it's being argued. I think it's going to go under the lieutenant governor. They're fighting to keep it away from being run by DOE. Another one just that was brought up is 215, and that's at the PLDC hearings where everybody opposed it. There was what one of the sponsors said is, well, maybe we ought to call these public-private partnership authorities, and therefore they wouldn't, instead of calling them corporate developments, they would be permitted. That's likely to pass. And so I just want to give a sense of, while we're sitting here taking care of the well-being of our constituents, our authority to govern is being attacked. I mean, and it's not, no one's coming here if you look at all of this privatization, where we are now, we switched that over in terms of energy. Helco, now we're stuck with all these things. Every time you sort of lose control, and what do you do? And it doesn't mean, I think looking at 727 tells me, how can we trust what you're doing? It doesn't even say what was going on. And so I just want to look at really just that we're all aware of this, and there's a growing consciousness. And how do we watch for this? I know someone said it used to be Corporation Counsel would follow all of the bills and look for issues. I think also with Dominic, there was for a while someone reading them, but how do we deal with this? And I don't have all the answers. I just, maybe if we do get a legislative specialist, that person. But I think, do we call these legislators in and make them accountable? I think there's as if we're not even told, here we are taking away your rights. And let me just say, HSAC sort of prepares and can deal with things where they're coming, where, say, the residence program, which is really good. But a lot of these things just happen. They just happen, and you can say 727 is essentially dead. it's not essentially dead. It's been held. They can bring it back any day. They can bring it back next year and hold a vote. So unless they put a hold on it, it means it's pending. And just with the PLDC, you see things morph into other areas. I think local government is really important. It's most important, not just us, it's that people on this island can really interface with the government and have a role in where that those who are most impacted have a meaningful say-so in what happens to their lives.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Kern?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I found Bill 727 a while ago, saw it was held up, but still decided to send testimony over there. All of this is a theme of taking away our home rule. This is a theme of not working together. In a island state that we have, it's critical that each county has control over what's happening here, especially related to land use issues, because we know our island the best. One of the challenges is I could see if the process in which they had to go through would take a year, and they needed to expedite something, maybe more room for discussion. But on the county level, we have criteria that things have to happen in a certain time. It doesn't take that long. Going back the other way, I just found if I want to put a bus stop on a highway, it takes me about a year to get approval. We all know how it is with the state highways and the various state approvals. It's much longer. So it's not that we're the problem as a county, so there's no need for this. Furthermore, in Bill 727, taking away the ability to protect property, life, and limb, that's unconstitutional. We all swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, the Constitution of Hawaii, which is the basic fundamentals of government to protect the people. The problem is that the will of the people isn't being done right now on the state level, I feel, on these issues. In other areas, I think they're doing fine, but on these issues of taking away home rule, I don't think the people want that. And that's where I hope the elected representatives, the state senators and House members will realize that and see that I don't think the people want this. We want home rule. I had the opportunity to be on the Planning Commission, which we did SMAs. It was a good process. We got people in there, we talked about it, and we made good decisions. That was people that live here, that are affected by this, that have no ties to special interests. They're just members of the community. Critical that we move away from that and keep our SMA here and move more towards home rule. I think the state could see us as a more of a partner in this, so we could actually be an asset to them instead of taking it away, because honestly, I don't feel as a county we're trying to make anything any harder. We're just trying to protect our resources, our economic development, our socioeconomics, our environment. And we're doing that in sound, reasonable ways. And I really feel that the state should stop trying to take away our home rule, focus on where they're supposed to be doing, revamping the DOE, fixing our state highways. There's so many issues there that they should just leave us alone, allow us to do what we need to do as a county, and continue down the road, because there's really no data that this is an issue. There's no reason to take away home rule. I will not support anything that's unconstitutional. So we need to keep our eye on this, and it's a good discussion. Let's pray that there's some sense over there in the state capitol. Thank you.
Ms. Ford?
Thank you. I couldn't agree more with Ms. Willie and Mr. Kern on this issue. I have to tell you that for the last 2.5, 3 years I've been on the council, this has become a groundswell at the legislative level to strip us of our home rule rights. Mr. Kern is correct. The primary purpose of government is public health, safety, and welfare. For instance, we tax people to provide police, fire, prosecutors, civil defense, hospitals, and parks and recreation. That all falls under there. And if we are taxing for those things, and yet we're being told how we will or will not implement these different things, I agree with Mr. Kern a second time that it's a violation of our constitutional rights. I do have, as I look through these examples that Ms. Willie brought forward, you'll see some names keep popping up. And you'll also see introduced at somebody else's request. And I would just almost bet money which business was involved in some of this stuff. But I won't go there right now. I think there's a couple things that we need to do. First of all, I think we need, as a council, to provide a resolution to all of our senators and representatives from the Big Island, stating that this issue, this home rule thing, has got to stop. They do not attempt to strip the county of its constitutional rights by taking away home rule. I think that it should also be written, the same one, to HSAC, get them behind us. And I think we need to send it to every county council in the state and ask them to be writing from the council, their respective councils, to the representatives of their island and tell them to cut it out. It's gone way beyond anything reasonable. When I read this Bill 727 that Margaret provided, I highlighted in my least favorite color, orange, meaning warning, 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 about the fact that what they're eliminating from this bill is public health and safety. The issues that we are dealing with here on this island, there's the orange in case anyone doubts my color code, things that we're dealing with that are really major issues all involve public health and safety. And that's what they don't want us to do. Now, why would a government say, don't be involved with public health and safety? Only dollars make a sensible answer. There's big dollars from ignoring public health and safety. That should be in the resolution. That is our job to do that. And not just our constitutional responsibility, but our moral responsibility that we should be protecting the people of our island. And if we don't, then we shouldn't be here. I think, though, that the resolution is possibly the best way to go. We've got a plutocracy operating in Honolulu at this point in time, issuing demands, and they followed up with a lot of money. And that is what's driving this issue, is the money in Honolulu is coming from a few corporations. We've got to do something, and my recommendation, unless somebody comes up with a better idea, is a resolution. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Yoff?
Ms. Willie brought up on how to get better educated quicker about bills that are in the legislature, so we don't always have the knee-jerk reaction, which my office has responded to quite a few bills and resolutions through testimony, and this council's done a pretty good job of sending forth resolutions in HSAC. But I would suggest that the disconnect is maybe we haven't brought our legislators here soon enough or often enough. And I know there's logistical problems because of everything happening so fast during the legislative session and for us too. But maybe that would be one way we could better communicate back and forth, is if we planned maybe this committee sometimes to host senators and representatives to give us briefings, or for us to be able to speak back and forth, just to keep the our county better connected with the legislature. So I'm not sure if that's something for before the next session to prepare for, but that would just be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. Any other council members? If not, I'm just going to make a short comment in regards to what Ms. Yoff had mentioned. Yeah, it would be nice to have our representatives, like from the House and Senate, to come and give an update. But what is hard is that during the session time, they're so busy, and it's like a Monday through Saturday kind of thing. What I'm hearing is that they might end session earlier this year because of how the Senate has their proposed budget and with the House, and so this week or early next week, well, this week already they're doing conferencing. Okay, so maybe by the end of this week, if they agree upon everything, it's a done deal. And so then they'll be voting on the budget already. But they're looking at ending early this session. But maybe after session is over, then they can come by and do updates. But sometimes some of these bills are not from our Big Island legislatures anyway. It's like from other islands, right? And so in a way, yeah, they should be contacting us or letting us know how we feel. And that's why every time I always mention when we talk about state stuff is that we need, as council members, keep in contact with our legislatures in their districts, right? And let them know how we feel about certain bills that they, that's being proposed in front of them. So just, thought that we got to keep communication with them. Thank you. Okay, go, Ms. Willie.
Well, can I offer to write a resolution to this effect? And if that's, anyway, make a motion that I be able to write a resolution or however.
I think you can just do one and then you can propose it to us. But then, like I said, that session might end maybe next week or so. So
Yeah.
that reso, we're not going to hear them until in May.
Right. Let me just say, I see this effort continuing. I mean, this is not this year. It's just
Right.
swelling. And as the person, saying 27 states, we finally achieved where they've totally stripped county governments of dealing with anything to do with the well-being of their constituents. So I think looking ahead, we can expect a lot more of this coalescing of power, and that local government and the people meaningful input from the public is important. And so looking forward, I don't see it as just, and it is, there are key Big Island legislators that are playing a major role in this effort.
So that's why maybe what we should do is have them come in after their session is over to come in, give us an update and let them tell us why they support it.
Right, and we can give them an update at the
Correct.
same time.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, Mr. Kanua?
I just had a question. What key legislators on this island are playing a big role in that? Since you brought it up, I just wanted to.
Yeah,
make sure that we're not-
Malama Solomon in particular, she's, in terms of concentrating county government, and then Cliff Suji. But there's also, I think, a lot of fear, it just seems like bucking the powers that be, but Malama and Cliff Suji are two key ones here.
Okay. All those in favor in filing communication 220, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Communication 22 is filed. Okay.